Okay, so it's been a while since I've done an advice video, and that's mostly because I don't really have anything sort of profound to say, to the extent that anyone necessarily needs to hear advice from a 33-year-old guy on the internet who makes videos with his nephew. But basically, this week, I saw this Twitter trend, and my thoughts kind of drifted to the implications of what that trend meant. And so the trend was hashtag lies we all tell ourselves. And so mine was that lies we all tell ourselves is that nice guys finish last. Because 9 times out of 10, a woman would rather, well, not just a woman, a person would rather be with someone who treats them well. But, and this is the big part, is that if you're nice and respectful and kind and they still don't want to be with you, don't look at that as an indictment of being nice and kind and respectful. Because there are too many people who look at that and think that being nice is really all that you have to do, and that there aren't other elements to attraction. Like, yes, to a certain extent, looks don't matter to certain people. To others, they do. Everybody has different criteria to what constitutes attraction to them. But what you need to realize, if you're one of those people who assumes nice guys finish last, is that you're not really owed anything. Just by virtue of being nice or kind doesn't mean that you're owed a relationship or that you're owed intimacy in any way. Because really, being nice cannot account for 100% of attraction. I don't think it can even account for like 70 to 80% of it. You know, there has to be more to it. You know, some people, they value someone who can make them laugh. Some people value someone who is physically attractive. Maybe people value someone who shares their interests. Or maybe it's just about, you know, a physical intimacy, a physical chemistry that people value. And the thing is that you can't tell someone that they're wrong for valuing what they value. Now, you could hold the opinion that maybe if they're all about the physical, that they're a shallow person. I don't necessarily ascribe to that theory, but that's an opinion you can hold. But I think it's wrong to judge someone for that, because we all live by a different criteria of what makes us happy and what constitutes happiness for us. And so the idea that nice guys finish last is a defense mechanism for when you put yourself out there and get rejected, and then she ends up with someone who maybe wouldn't treat her as well as you do. But the thing is that you don't know what it is that necessarily attracts her to that other guy, you know, and at the risk of playing into the cliche of what she might tell you, it's that, well, not that she owes you an explanation anyway, but that he's nice in ways that you don't see, you know. He might be a jerk to you or in your eyes, but ultimately he's what she's looking for, you know. It's hard to quantify attraction if you're not that person, you know. Let's call the person Belle. You know, if Belle is into Adam and not into you, just assume that there's a reason for that, and that maybe you don't see why she's into him, but you can trust her judgment. If you respect her, you trust her judgment enough to know that she knows what she likes, and she's not just liking him for some stupid reason that holds no basis in anything. But now there's also the flip side of that, in that there are some people who end up in self-destructive relationships repeatedly, and it's hard because it's almost similar to this meme that I saw online once, where it's this beautiful woman who is complaining that, oh man, I only ever, you know, attract these boys who are overly dramatic, or I only attract these problematic guys. And a friend tells her, no, you're beautiful, you attract everybody, but you choose problematic guys. Because then it's a friend shifting the responsibility back onto the person who's complaining about the sort of men that they end up with. And by the same token, it works in the opposite direction too, towards guys. How many guys go around and say, oh, I only attract crazy girls? Like, no, you're attracting people, but you're choosing people who, by your definition, make you uncomfortable. So why are you going to be with someone who makes you uncomfortable? Why are you going to be with someone who mistreats you? So if you find yourself in a position where you put yourself out there to male or female, and the person says, I like you as a friend, I don't really have those same feelings for you, and then they go and choose someone who treats them badly or abuses them, be there for them as a friend, but also understand that romantically, maybe that wasn't someone who was going to work out for you anyway, as badly as you may have wanted it to, because in that sense, they don't value someone who treats them well. Maybe there are more deep-seated issues at play that maybe you don't understand, that she or he is going through something, and I don't know. There's a psychology to attraction that I don't understand. So why am I making this video? But it felt like something that I wanted to address, because I think it's wrong to say that nice guys finish last. It's because I feel it's a cop-out. It's a way of saying, oh, she only wants to date jerks, which is not the case. Like, I don't think anybody seeks out bad people to date. It's just that you can't help what you're attracted to. And so at a certain point, you just got to let it go. Let things be, as they are. And if you want to remain in that person's life, be there for them and support them, but also don't sort of be a hanger-on holding out for the hope that things are going to change, because I think it's an unhealthy way of living. Because sure, maybe things change for some people. I've had friends who got out of the friend zone, which is just an insane concept to me anyway, because the friend zone sounds more like something that is like a palliative measure for people who can't take rejection. So they just say, oh, I get put in this box and maybe I can get out of this box at some point. But really, it's disrespectful in a way to assume that, oh, this is a friend zone and I'm in it and maybe I can get out of it. Because all that says is that you didn't really hear the other person when they said they weren't interested. You're just going to sit in this box hoping that either they change their minds of their own accord or you can change their minds for them, which is just an inherently disrespectful method of thinking. So let me bring this around to my thesis statement, is that nice guys finish last is a cop-out in the sense that you can't treat other people who reject you as though they don't know what's in their own best interest. Now, maybe someone who keeps going back to someone who's abusive doesn't necessarily know what's in their best interest, but there's a reason, a deep-seated reason that maybe you don't understand for why they're going back to that person. And you can be there for them as a friend and try to help them as best you can to extricate themselves from that situation. But I think to try to play the arbiter of what constitutes attraction for them is the wrong approach to take, because you can't tell other people what they should be attracted to. You know what I mean? But, there's only so much you can do as a friend. You can try to help them as best you can, but also if they're not into you and they're into someone else, I mean, life isn't a movie. Life isn't standing outside of someone's house with a boombox over your head playing Peter Gabriel. You know, you have to be realistic about expectations, about what it is about where it is this relationship, this connection could go. And if it's not going towards a relationship, respect yourself enough to be able to let it go and say, okay, well, we're not going to be dating, but I care enough about this person that I still want them in my life. And if you want them in your life as a friend, keep them in your life as a friend, and don't keep the thought of possibly being with them romantically on the back burner. Just be there, keep on the front burner, the idea of being with them as a friend, because you don't know what relationships and what friendships you're missing out on by just cutting someone off in your mind just because they didn't want to be with you. But also, like, it's hard, don't put up with being disrespected either. You know what I mean? Like, if this is a person who rejects you, but then they don't want you in their life, don't hang on for someone who clearly doesn't want you in their life. Just let them go. And that's fair play. I'm not new to being ghosted, but I don't go chasing after someone who ghosts me either, So ultimately, nice guys finish last is a cop-out, and don't use it. And I don't know, this is kind of rambling. I hope I've made some semblance of sense, and I hope in the comments, I really hope that I haven't sort of offended anyone by expressing that maybe some people have a hard time getting out of toxic relationships. Because I think getting out of a toxic relationship requires a lot of support from friends who care and who don't have ulterior motives in maybe getting with the person they're helping to get out of that toxic relationship. So, and there are people who, for whatever reason, are just drawn to toxic relationships. And I don't even think it's necessarily their fault. Maybe there's some issue in their upbringing. And see, this is me, like, this is why I say, like, I hope I don't offend anybody, because now I'm doing our armchair psychology when this is not something that I should be doing. And I don't know the reasons for why people end up in toxic relationships. I don't know the reasons why people stay or go back to toxic relationships. And it's not my position to make assumptions about why they would find those types of relationships beneficial or comfortable to remain in. But ultimately, I think the best thing that you can do for those people is be there for them as friends and help them if they don't want to help themselves. But also don't, try to take over their entire life, I guess. Because there's only so much you can do as a human being and as a friend. So, I think you just need to do the best you can to find people who value you and who value someone who treats them well, but also don't take offense and think that being nice doesn't work if the person you're into rejects you. Because seriously, sometimes being kind and respectful is half the battle. And if you're kind and respectful and thoughtful and courteous, you might already be way ahead of other people. And at the very least, even if it doesn't work out, you can hold your head high because you didn't do anything creepy. You weren't being persistent to an almost stalkerish degree. You're letting things go if things don't work out with the object of your affection. Now, if they give you the option of remaining in their life as friends and you feel that that's something that you're capable of doing and being in it as a friend, like all in as a friend, then do that and be in that person's life. But don't sit in a box waiting for them to change their mind or expecting that you're going to change their mind, and then complaining on the internet that, well, this girl only likes guys who are jerks, or this guy only likes girls who are crazy. Real nice guys, not just nice guys who are nice for performative sake. They will not finish last. Anyway, I hope I've made sense, and thank you for sticking with me through this series of word salad. I'm Nick, and I don't know, I love you all. Thanks.